Hello and welcome to the weekly Asylum and Immigration Reform Recap, where I share with you 5 recent stories of interest for asylum seekers and those wanting to stay updated on immigration news. This week, we're discussing
the U.S. will aid Panama in migrant deportations to address border crossings. A new report shows massive immigrant contributions to the U.S. economy. A Texas lawsuit threatens a federal immigrant parole program. A complaint has been filed over wrongful solitary confinement by ICE. A federal court says threats are not enough for asylum.
I'm Brian Manning, and I used to be an asylum officer with the government, but now, as an asylum attorney, I help immigrants all over the country to secure their future in America through asylum. All right, let's get to the news. First up,
seeking to curb record border crossings, the Biden administration plans to deploy U.S. immigration officials to Panama to bolster deportations of migrants traveling north. Nearly 500,000 people crossed the perilous Darien Gap jungle into Panama this year, mostly Venezuelans fleeing crisis. Panama requested U.S. assistance screening migrants and expelling those denied refuge. Washington aims to train local authorities in asylum procedures while securing deportation contracts. The novel move reflects increasing reliance on other nations to contain complex regional migration flows reaching America's doorstep. It also signifies mounting desperation to deter unlawful migration after policies like the so-called Legal Pathways program failed to reverse the trend. As critics condemn externalization of border enforcement, the Biden administration touts this as humanitarian capacity building.
And up next for update number 2.
A groundbreaking report unveils immigrants as driving forces in the U.S. economy, contributing over $500 billion in taxes in 2021 alone. Comprising 13.6% of the population, immigrants accounted for almost 30 million workers last year across all industries. Though originating largely from Mexico, India, and China, immigrant employees dominated specific sectors like nail salons, apparel manufacturing, and agriculture. Additionally, immigrants revitalized declining neighborhoods, increasing housing values by trillions of dollars. Undocumented immigrants numbered nearly 10 million, with refugees and others also paying billions in taxes. The report provides a comprehensive picture of immigrants as entrepreneurs and innovators indispensable to American communities. With fresh statistics on immigrant workers' impact, the analysis spotlights their vast payments into the tax base amid ongoing debates on immigration policy.
All right, it's time for our third immigration update.
A federal parole program allowing 30,000 immigrants from 4 countries into the U.S. monthly is under threat from a Texas lawsuit, jeopardizing over 269,000 people already admitted. The state of Texas claims the pathway strains resources like healthcare and education. For its part, the Biden administration asserts that parole falls under executive authority, with over 100 such programs undertaken in the past. An injunction could set new precedent, as the first program struck down while leaving current parolees in limbo. As record border crossings persist, the case epitomizes the immigration debate, Texas utilizing litigation to restrict policy amid criticism of a broken system, while the White House touts the program as a lawful alternative to illegal entry. The 4 countries currently benefiting from the program are Venezuela, Nicaragua, Haiti, and Cuba.
By the way, if you want to stay updated on asylum and immigration reform news, then make sure to press the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you don't miss the next video. Okay, moving on, we're ready for update number 4.
A non-profit organization has filed a complaint alleging 2 Salvadoran immigrants were wrongfully placed in solitary confinement by ICE due to perceived MS-13 ties. The 2 men spent over a week in isolation at a Pennsylvania facility based solely on their nationality, despite no evidence of gang affiliation or security threats. Officers openly characterized Salvadorans as gang members. One of the men overheard a guard say that 90% of you guys from El Salvador are gang members. The non-profit says this exemplifies broader ICE mistreatment, especially at this particular facility, which has been the subject of prior abuse allegations. They demand an investigation and policy reform like ending solitary confinement. As immigration debates continue, the case spotlights alleged discrimination within a system some call inherently inhumane.
And finally, our 5th immigration update for this week.
An indigenous man from Guatemala failed to prove the extreme mistreatment required for asylum. The First Circuit Court of Appeals ruled in a recent decision even after armed gangs robbed and threatened him over his ethnicity. The asylum applicant claimed past persecution because of threats he received as a teen over his ethnicity, which escalated to a knife-point mugging. But the court said unfulfilled threats rarely qualify unless they cause actual harm. Despite accepting the trauma of the robbery, the judge concluded the threats did not compel a finding of persecution. Back in his hometown, the applicant faced worsening land disputes, but no more ethnicity-based threats after the robbery. He also inadequately argued feared persecution from gangs, the judge ruled. The decision underscores high standards for asylum claims involving threats without physical harm.
And that concludes this week's immigration news. If you want to win asylum in the United States, then you should call my office today. We help people all over the country, so it doesn't matter where you are. Call us now to schedule an asylum strategy session so that we can assist you in securing your future in America through asylum. Again, I'm Brian Manning, and it's an honor to serve you in your immigration journey.